So you're trying to figure out this whole higher education marketing thing, right? Especially with AI changing SEO like crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with.
Totally. And it feels like there's a ton of information out there, like drinking from a fire hose. We're going to try to boil it down to what's really important.
Yeah, cut through the noise, right?
Right. I mean, things are moving so fast in digital marketing, it's hard to even know where to start.
For sure.
So we've been digging into research from some big names, the Higher Education Marketing Institute, UPCEA, Search Influence, Think Orion, even Carnegie and Hannon Hill. And we're going to try to make sense of it all, especially how AI is changing search, social media's role, how to make people also ask work for you, why Google's EEAT matters more than ever, and this whole idea of universities acting like they're selling directly to students.
Like a DTC brand, yeah.
Exactly. So first off, let's talk about AI and what it's doing to search.
Well, Google's AI overviews are kind of shaking things up. It's like they're giving instant answers at the top of the search results.
Oh yeah, like Google's suddenly this expert advisor cutting to the chase. But I bet that's got to be a problem for universities trying to get their websites seen the old-fashioned way.
It is, it is. It's pushing websites further down the results, especially university program pages, because Google's offering these quick summaries. And a lot of times they don't even clearly say where the information's coming from.
So it's like the internet's giving you the Cliff's Notes, but not telling you to actually read the book.
Pretty much.
So what are universities supposed to do? How do they make sure people still see all the great information they have?
Well, the research suggests a few things, like they got to go deep with their content, way beyond those surface-level summaries that AI is spitting out.
Right, so if AI is the snack, universities need to be the whole meal.
Exactly. Think detailed program descriptions that highlight what makes them unique, faculty profiles that showcase their expertise, and compelling stories from alumni that show what students can achieve.
Yeah, like painting the full picture, building trust, and giving people a reason to dig deeper. What else?
Long-tail keywords, they're becoming even more crucial now.
Yeah, those super specific search terms.
Exactly. AI overviews might not capture those niche interests. So instead of just targeting engineering programs, you target best universities for renewable energy engineering with internships and solar technology.
Wow, so laser focused on what students are really looking for.
Yep.
And wouldn't it help to use like super clear language too, so both students and AI can understand?
Absolutely. Google love content that's easy to digest. Short sentences, conversational tone, all that good stuff. And it can't hurt to mix things up with multimedia. Webinars, downloadable guides, interactive tools. It adds a layer of richness that AI struggles to replicate.
Speaking of putting this into practice, didn't University X, the one with that awesome sustainable urban planning program, have to deal with this?
They did. They saw their organic search traffic drop as AI Does Reviews started answering those initial broad queries.
Oof. So how'd they bounce back?
Well, they got strategic. Beefed up their content with detailed faculty profiles, highlighting research and perspectives. They brought in those compelling alumni stories, started targeting those super specific long-tail keywords. And they even built an interactive tool so prospective students could compare different specializations within the program.
So smart. They gave people a reason to click through and see what makes them special. But Google's not the only game in town anymore, right? What about social search?
This is a huge shift. Gen Z and millennials, they're going straight to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
It's like, forget Google, let me see what the students are actually saying.
Right, they want the inside scoop on programs, campus life, real student experiences, and even AI-generated summaries are starting to show up on those platforms.
Oh, wow. I've even seen prospective students asking very specific questions about university programs in TikTok comments.
And the thing is, what appears on social media often shows up in Google search results too.
So a strong social media presence can actually boost your regular SEO. That's a 2-for-1 deal.
It really is. So universities need a social search strategy, not just a general social media plan.
So how do they make the most of it?
The key is content that sparks engagement and ranks well, both within the platform and on Google. Repurpose website content into social-friendly formats. Short videos, infographics, student testimonials.
Right, because no one's reading a long blog post on TikTok.
And prioritize engagement. Likes, shares, comments, that's what the algorithms love. Do Q&As with faculty, polls, behind-the-scenes videos.
Make it fun and interactive.
Exactly. And authenticity is key. Student-generated content, that's what builds trust. Like student ambassadors sharing their day-to-day, or alumni talking about their journeys.
Feels way more real than a polished ad.
And don't forget to optimize for the platform itself. Hashtags, keywords and captions and descriptions, all that matters.
It's like speaking their language where they already are.
Right.
Didn't University S with their environmental science program have a success story with this?
Yeah, they were struggling to reach their target students through their website and blog.
Sounds familiar.
So they did their research and realized those students were hanging out on TikTok and YouTube. So they started a TikTok series where students talked about their research and internships, turned faculty Q&As into Instagram Reels, and encouraged student ambassadors to vlog on YouTube. And they optimized everything with the right keywords and hashtags.
Smart move. Now let's talk about another Google thing people also ask.
Yeah, those drop-down questions, they're getting more and more important, especially with AI overviews taking up so much space.
It's like Google's anticipating what else you might want to know.
Exactly. And appearing there can boost visibility, even if it might mean slightly fewer clicks to your website.
Because sometimes people find their answer right there in the PAA box.
Right. But it still shows you're a helpful and authoritative resource.
So how do universities get in on that?
Well, first, answer those common student questions directly at the top of your relevant pages. Then you can go into more detail further down.
Like a TLDR for the impatient folks and more info for those who want to dive in.
Exactly. And use structured data like FAQ schema, make sure your headings are clear, and actually match those questions.
Make it super clear for Google what question you're answering, right?
Yep. Don't forget long-tail keywords either. Students get specific with their questions.
Right. What's the best program for me is very different from what's the best program for someone who wants to study marine biology and do field research in the Pacific Northwest.
Exactly. And organize your content with bullet points and lists, things like that. Makes it easier for Google to pull out those concise answers. And remember, EEAT matters here too.
That acronym again. We'll get to that in a sec.
Right, but showcasing your faculty's expertise, referencing research, using statistics, it all shows Google you're a trustworthy source.
It's all about building that credibility. Speaking of, didn't that small liberal arts college, University X, really nail the PAA game?
They did. They knew AI overviews could hurt their traffic, so they focused on PAA. Added FAQ sections to program pages, used long-tail keywords, structured their content for easy answers, and added that FAQ schema markup.
They were proactive and got ahead of the curve. Good for them. Okay, let's finally talk about EET. Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
It's a mouthful, but Google takes it seriously.
Especially now that there's so much AI content floating around, right?
Definitely. It's Google's way of judging if a website is actually legit.
So it's not enough to just have the right keywords anymore.
Nope, you got to prove you know what you're talking about. Show off your faculty's expertise, make sure your information is accurate and up to date, highlight your research.
Like showing your work, proving you're not just making stuff up.
Right, because if you don't, Google might just decide you're not worth showing.
Yikes. So how do universities boost their EEAT?
Well, get those faculty members blogging and writing research summaries with bios that show off their credentials. Share student testimonials and success stories.
Real stories from real people.
And get backlinks from other reputable sources. Think collaborations with other institutions, guest blog posts on respected websites.
So it's like building a web of trust and credibility around your university.
That's a great way to put it. And never underestimate the power of keeping your content fresh. Regularly updated, accurate, and relevant information shows Google you're on top of things.
Makes sense. Didn't that STEM-focused University X boost their EEAT by doing something like this?
They did. They noticed their computer science program was slipping in the rankings, so they had their faculty write blog posts on hot topics like AI and cybersecurity with detailed bios. They showcased student case studies with real-world applications.
Practical, hands-on stuff.
And they partnered with tech companies for joint research and guest blogs, earning those valuable backlinks. Oh, and they made sure their faculty profiles had structured data to highlight their expertise.
Sounds like a recipe for success. Okay, let's zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture. What are some of the marketing challenges higher education's facing as we head deeper into the 2020s?
Oh boy, where to begin? Demographics are shifting, enrollment's changing, fewer traditional college-age students.
The demographic cliff, everyone's talking about that.
And there are more alternative education options now, micro-credentials, online degrees. It's more competitive than ever to attract students.
So the old ways of getting things just won't cut it.
Nope. Universities have to get personal with targeted marketing campaigns that speak to individual students' needs and interests. They need to use data and analytics to understand student behavior. And of course, a strong online presence is a must. Website, content, social media, you name it.
It's like everything's got to be firing on all cylinders.
Pretty much. And let's not forget alumni. They can be powerful advocates for the university.
Right, they've lived the experience. And I imagine diversity and inclusion are more important than ever in marketing, too.
Absolutely. Your marketing has to reflect the diverse student body you want to attract.
Show everyone they have a place at your university. So with all these changes, I keep hearing about this idea of universities acting more like direct-to-consumer brands. What does that even mean?
That's a great question. DTC brands are all about personalization, building relationships, and community. And today's students are used to that from the brands they interact with every day.
Like how Amazon knows exactly what you want to buy or Netflix recommends shows you'll love.
Exactly. Students expect that same level of personalization from their universities. They're used to it in their consumer lives, so they want it in their education too. especially with more and more students learning online and spending so much time on social media.
So how can universities get on board with this whole DTC thing?
Well, they can start by looking at how students interact with their website and online resources. Then they can tailor content and guide students based on their behavior.
So, like, if a student keeps looking at information about study abroad programs, maybe send them more info about that.
Exactly. And use data to personalize outreach. If a student mentions an interest in environmental science, you can tailor your communication to highlight your university's strengths in that area.
Make it relevant to them.
Targeted marketing for enrollment is another big one. Use AI and predictive analytics to recommend specific programs and scholarships based on a student's profile.
It's like, hey, we know you're interested in this, and here's how we can help you achieve your goals.
Right. And omnichannel communication is key. Meet students where they are, whether it's social media, email, or chat.
No more siloed communication.
And offer real-time support through chatbots and personalized portals. It makes the whole enrollment process less overwhelming.
Less like navigating a bureaucracy and more like talking to a friend.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's all about personalization, but what about storytelling? DTC brands are great at that too.
They are. Universities can learn a lot from them. Share authentic glimpses of campus life, student testimonials, behind the scenes, looks at programs and research.
Like pulling back the curtain and showing what it's really like to be there?
Right. Host interactive events like live Q&As with faculty or virtual campus tours led by students. Partner with alumni and student ambassadors to humanize the university. And tell stories that go beyond just facts and figures. Share student success stories. Profile inspiring faculty members.
Make it about people and experiences, not just stats and rankings.
Exactly. And don't forget the power of data. DTC brands live and breathe data, and universities should too.
Measure everything, figure out what works, and constantly improve.
That's it. Identify your data needs, capture relevant data, analyze it to find trends and understand different student segments, then use those insights to personalize your outreach and tailor your messaging. And keep refining your strategies based on what the data tells you.
Georgia State University is a great example of this, right? They used data to identify students who might be struggling and offered them support early on.
And they saw a huge improvement in retention rates. And just like DTC brands try to make buying as easy as possible, universities need to streamline their enrollment process.
Make it intuitive, user-friendly, and stress-free.
MIT's My MIT system is a good example of a user-friendly portal. Applicants can manage everything in one place.
Makes life easier for everyone.
And finally, build community. DTC brands are all about making customers feel like they belong. Universities could do the same with prospective and current students, as well as alumni.
Create that sense of belonging that lasts beyond graduation.
Think social media groups for prospective students, mobile apps for current students, student clubs and mentorship programs, and active alumni networks.
So many ways to keep people connected.
Right. It's all about fostering those relationships.
So, wow, we covered a lot today. AI is transforming SEO, making universities think differently about their content and their online presence. Social search is a must-have, not a nice-to-have. And this whole DTC mindset is pushing universities to get more personal, build relationships, and create a sense of community.
It's about meeting students where they are and giving them the personal experiences they expect.
And using data to make smarter decisions every step of the way. So as you think about all of this, here's a question for you. What's one thing you're going to focus on to make your university's marketing more effective and engaging in the coming year? How can you balance the power of technology with the importance of human connection? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been great.